Hey everyone, Casey Scanlon here, going to bring you a quick Lake of the Ozarks fishing report. We're here at the end of October. It's actually Halloween today, and the fishing's been pretty good. A lot of different things going on here at the lake. You can catch them shallow, you can catch them deep. There's a variety of patterns working, and a variety of species are biting too. The lake's a few feet low. Water temperatures in the mid 60s. Last week we had some 70-degree water temps, so the lake's still relatively warm for this time of year, which has the fish spread out, doing a lot of different things. But in general, they've been biting a little bit. You just had to stay on your toes, and if one thing's not working, you got to immediately switch and try something else, because it's been hard to get them to do the same thing 2 days in a row, at least as far as the largemouth and spotted bass have been. So we'll talk about those first, and then we'll get into some white bass and crappie, because those guys have been biting too. So as far as the largemouth and the bass fishing goes, like I said, lake's a couple feet low, so it's drawing some of those fish off the bank recently. We've got some current in the lake, so a lot of different things going on. Topwater bites started to kick off a little bit. Got the buzzer beater buzz bait right here from Bass Pro Shops. That's probably my all-time favorite buzz bait. Makes a lot of commotion and catches a lot of fish when I'm going down the bank. I also like Bass Pro Shops Chaos Shad, or any plopping style bait, whether it be the Whopper Plopper or the Chopo. Both of those work, and I like that around the cover around the bank, just going down the bank, covering water, fishing them around boat docks, and just trying to cover some ground with those baits. And they'll let you know pretty quick, typically, if they're gonna bite them. It's usually a timing window kind of deal. Another bait that we've been throwing is the spinnerbait. This is my Trophy Bass Company Ozark Flash spinnerbait, and this is a 3/4 ounce model. I'm catching a lot of fish on that, just reeling it around any kind of visible cover, laydowns, down the side of docks, points, windy banks. Chasing the wind, chasing the shade is really important with the spinnerbait. So just trying to get around a lot of cover and just fishing it as tight as you can to that cover, and you're gonna get some bites. So the 3/4 ounce has been working really good for me. I think they still got some of those at some of the local bait stores, but we are gonna start coming out with our Trophy Bass spinnerbaits again. I'm picking up a batch of them here this week, and we should have them, on our social media page until we get our website up. So we'll do a couple drops probably, and try to get rid of those baits and see which ones you guys want us to keep making. So we're gonna come out with just kind of the standard 1/2 ounce and 3/4 ounce sizes and some of our basic colors, and take it from there. So spinnerbait's been good. Of course, the jig, you can fish shallow to deep with the jig, and that's been kind of the name of the game. One day they're up shallow, the next day they're out deep. So the jig's been working well. That's my Trophy Bass Company jig, but I've been throwing the Bass Pro Shops cover jig, 1/2 ounce, around a lot of the shallow docks and shallow cover. It comes through the brush exceptionally well, and it's just a little bit smaller profile. So been throwing that with a variety of trailers, anything from like a beaver style trailer to a twin tail, to a big flapping crawl. So just depending on the size of the jig, how deep you're fishing, and kind of the mood of the fish, I'll kind of alter those trailers until I feel like I've got it dialed in. But anything that resembles a crawl on the back of a brown green pumpkin jig is going to do well. Black and blue works good as well. We've just had a lot of clear water, at least on the lower end down to about the glaze. And then it starts getting some color in the water. It looks really good, outside of the glaze going up towards Four Corners and the river area. So fish have been biting the entire length of the lake, and which is good. It has the fishermen spread out, gives the fish a little bit less pressure. So one of my favorite times of year to be out on the water, that's for sure. Keeps you on your toes, a lot of patterns working. You can get out there with a new technique and experiment and usually catch some fish. So jerk bait, as we get, these fish are gonna remain on the dock, so this is always good around dock corners. But you know, as we get these temperatures dropping, these fish start condensing around the shad, start grouping up a little bit for winter, that jerk bait's going to become deadlier and deadlier. And it's always a bait that you need to have in your hand. Square bill crankbaits have been good as well. You know, fished around wood cover primarily, down the side of docks. Super fast retrieve usually gets the bites on that this time of year. As the water temp slows down, you're going to have to slow down your retrieve, real similar to the jerk bait. You know, right now we're fishing that pretty fast around the corners of docks, chasing the wind, getting around the shad, schooling fish. It's been good for too. Let's see, we've been throwing a lot of big baits, you know, big glide baits and things like that. I've been experimenting with several different kinds, but Bass Pro Shop Swerve is always one of my favorites. And I don't think I have my I do have my glide rod out. This Bass Pro Shop's glide rod is an exceptional rod. Super good rod. It handles big baits. It's 7'9" has a long handle. And once you get used to that longer traditional swim bait handle, you know, it's really helpful for launching those big baits out there. So check out that Bass Pro Shop's Carbon Light technique specific line of rods. That's a mouthful, but the Carbon Light technique specific rods, I've been using them for 2 years now, and they're awesome. This 7'4" Dragon rod is like the best jig rod I've ever used. It's you know, designed, I think, for throwing a Carolina rig. At least that's what the picture indicates. But it's a great rod. I've got it with the 8:3-to-1 gear ratio, Bass Pro Shop's Carbon Light reel, 20-pound line, and I do everything from, you know, throw a Cinco on that, Texas rig, bigger shaky heads, and any kind of jig, anything from, you know, basically a 3/8 to a 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce jig I throw on that rod, and it's been awesome. Super light, sensitive, and really strong, durable rod. So Bass Pro is making a lot of cool products, from their XPS line of baits to the, you know, rods and reels they got right now. So do yourself a favor, check those out, and you won't be disappointed. They got some really cool stuff, using all their products from line to rods to lures. So have a lot of success on that stuff. So check it out. It's reasonable and you can get it. So throwing those big glide baits. This is a new one here from Berkeley, I think. Threw that a little bit this week. No luck on it yet, but the glide bait bite is really day-to-day, hit or miss. You know, it's something I like to do, but it's not always the most rewarding thing to do. You can see a lot of fish some days. Some days you don't see any at all, don't get any bites, but when they bite, it is fun. So bass fishing's just been really good. You know, the jigs around boat docks, brush piles, etc., out deep. A-rig is gonna kick in, jerk bait. You can catch them offshore to right up on the bank in inches of water. So pretty good time to be out on the water and fishing. And let's get to some white bass. So white bass and crappie, they're grouping up, chasing shad, and starting to really bite. So windy points, the backs of some major creeks, anywhere there's a ton of shad, of course, is where you're gonna find those whites. And rooster tail's been really good. Windy days are the best. You know, windy, cloudy days where those fish want to get up shallow, they get a little bit more aggressive and want to bite. That's gonna be the ticket. So rooster tails, we've got these little hair jigs have been really good, you know, underneath a cork or just popping them along the surface just underneath the water. That's anywhere from like an 1/8 ounce to a 3/16 ounce is the ones that I've been throwing. And you know, you can get bit on some crankbaits. You just want a really small bait, something that's gonna trigger those fish into biting. They're feeding on some smaller bait. And just key on those windy points. Flatter points have been good. Chase the wind. The evenings have been really good. Evenings and early in the mornings are typically best. And then, you know, you want to check the backs of those creeks too, see if you can find some schooling action. Crappie have been biting a little bit. You know, the small swim baits. Been throwing a lot of these small swim baits, like the Bass Pro Shop Speed Shad, just on the back of an 1/8 ounce head for both the crappie, bass, and white bass. So they've been biting that a lot. 6 to 8 pound line on, I believe I've got 8 pound braid on here, maybe 10 pound braid. But crappie have been moving up. There's a lot of them underneath the commercial docks and things like that. You can see them tucked underneath there. Minnows and jigs drop vertically in the docks. Are gonna catch a lot of fish this time of year. And there's a ton of them out over the top of like 20, 25 foot brush piles. So still a lot of fish out deeper that I'm seeing. You can drop vertical on those or throw that swim bait over the top of them and get them to come up and react to it. And then there's always some fish to be had, you know, in the dock wells, like shooting docks underneath swim platforms and things like that. And so I like a Bass Pro Shops baby shad, 1/16 ounce head, and basically, you know, 6 pound line. Shoot that jig underneath the boat docks and the shadiest docks you can find, usually docks around points, secondary points or main lake points who've got the most fish. You want to have some wind blowing on them as well. That really helps. And they're also going to key in on the shady side of those docks. So later in the evenings, early in the mornings, they won't be grouped up as much underneath the docks. They'll kind of be towards the sides of them. And you can really get them to react just to that jig or swim bait, reeling it through those big schools. Using my Garmin Live Scope to kind of find the depth that they're sitting at and going from there. You know, some days they're really active, some days they're not, but most of the time, you know, early in the morning and later in the evening, you're gonna have the most success. Those fish are gonna, you know, really get keyed up, start biting, and you'll be able to put them in the boat quick. So lots going on here at the lake, a lot to talk about. I'm sure I didn't cover a lot of it, but the fish are gonna be changing throughout the fall, you know, as it gets a little bit colder. So you gotta stay on your toes, but you know, those baits that I mentioned, from a topwater to a spinnerbait, crankbait, jig, you know, you keep those in your hand, cover some water, get around the bait, and you're gonna catch some fish. So good luck to all you guys fishing out there. I'm gonna head to Grand Lake for the Toyota Championship and see what we can't do down there. And we'll give you another fishing report when I get back. So good luck.